Hey everyone, this is Chris, and we are still on hiatus. While we're at this time, I am currently over in Greece, and I believe I am enjoying myself thoroughly. I'll be honest, I'm recording this before the trip, and I'm doing the re-release because I'm away, and I won't be able to post while I'm on the trip. So I can only assume I'm having a great time, and truth be told, I have zero reason to assume that I won't. So, I hope you are all having a wonderful day, and I just thought it'd be fun to go down memory lane, and with us being 1 week removed from Independence Day in the States, and 10 days removed from Canada Day, I just thought it'd be fun to revisit, a film that I always revisit twice, at that time of year specifically, and frankly, multiple times throughout the year otherwise, along with another great film, Armageddon, with my buddy Stereo Mike. So we are dipping into our catalog of episodes. We're going back to 2018, where Mike and I try to talk about Independence Day and Armageddon. Hope you enjoy this trip down memory lane, and see you on July 25th with a brand new episode. God bless and take care, my friends. Peace!
There's money out there and rolled gold has it.
Hey everyone, this is Chris, and you're listening to One Cross Radio, and today we are rejoined by my friend and yours, the awesome Mike Naulls. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Just as a friendly heads up for you, dear listener, you may occasionally hear the sound of crunching. It is first thing in the morning, and Mike is quite hungry, so we are nibbling on some pretzels.
Yes, excuse my pretzels. They will crunch. As pretzels do.
As pretzels do.
But, if Rolled Gold wants to send us some free pretzels, or preferably money?
Yes.
Rolled Gold pretzels.
Rolled Gold, if you would like to sponsor, I would love to advertise your delicious pretzels.
They're perfectly salted and golden brown. I don't know if I've ever had a better pretzel in my life.
We are in no way, shape, or form sponsored. We just like the product. But if you're sponsoring,
we're not sponsored yet.
Exactly.
Remain optimistic.
Optimistic indeed.
There's money out there, and Rolled Gold has it.
They have it, and we want it.
Need some of that rolled gold. Gold. They pay us in gold.
Do they pay us in gold? Golden pretzels?
Gold? No.
No?
Well, I'll take payment. A few bags of pretzels, but there comes a point where I have too many pretzels.
Well, yeah,
and then pretzels become our currency.
And even though these pretzels are perfectly salted, there's too much salt. You need to be like, all right, Dasani, will you sponsor me some water so I can offset this salt from the Rolled Gold?
Rolled Gold's owned by Frito-Lay, and if Frito-Lay is in some way owned by Coca-Cola that owns Dasani, that would just be perfect.
That'd be awesome.
But I have. Well, I don't want to ruin the Dasani sponsorship, but I have my reservations about bottled water. But hey, Dasani, if you're looking, what reservations?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And this is what happens when we do this first thing in the morning.
This is the best podcast ever.
Both of us on middle
make us some rolled gold Dasani money.
So, dear listener, I had just walked Jill to the car. It was 7:55, and I got a text from Mike being like, "Hey," because I always picture Mike just being like, "Hey,
man, I'm Korg. Hey, man, coming over to your house. You want to come?
I'm at the nearby IKEA. I'll be there soon." It's like, "Oh, awesome!" Because I knew he was coming today. It was a very pleasant morning surprise. So, before we dive into our topic today, listener, if you are a Christian and the praying type, please be in prayer for the Danforth and Logan neighborhood in Toronto. Last Sunday, there was a horrific shooting where there was 13 injured, and now I believe 3 dead, including the shooter. The neighborhood there's been a lot of vigils. My old church, Calvary, has done a lot of prayer service for them. They've been really active, and that's been wonderful. But that's scary. For me, when I heard about this on Monday morning, Calvary is a block away from Logan, and the guy walked out from the sounds of it, from Chester Station along the Danforth, and started opening fire. At this point, I'm not sure if a motive has been determined. They said it seemed random, but they weren't ruling anything out. ISIS has now claimed responsibility, apparently. But
they're so full of it. They'll, I said this before, and I think Trevor Noah said the same thing, that ISIL or Daesh or whatever you want to call them, they're like the jock. Oh yeah, I did that. Yeah, that was all me. Yeah.
The kind of brag.
Yeah, they're braggadocious.
Braggadocious.
Like, they just take credit for whatever, but they had nothing to do with it. I don't believe at all that they had anything to do with it. It was just a crazy guy. And
that may very well be. But I know for other people, especially because of that claim, there is a lot of conversation and stuff going on about gun reform laws in Canada, which Canada doesn't have as many gun problems as the States.
No.
So, with all that said, something tragic happened, and then something which is scary in and of itself. A group that may or may not be responsible, but is a known terror organization, has claimed responsibility, which only adds to that fear. And now there's a lot of serious conversations, and unfortunately at times, as we see online and in politics, and a lot of the time, when these things happen, there's not much of a civil discourse where we're just yelling at each other coming from our places of stubbornness and fear and all that. So please be in prayer for Toronto, for that specific neighborhood on Danforth, from the whole of Danforth, but also specifically the area of Logan to Chester Station. Please keep the families of the victims in prayer, and the lawmakers and the politicians who are going to have some very serious conversations. Hopefully the decisions will be the right ones and come from good motives and not just fear reaction, because that doesn't always work out. But now on to some lighter stuff. Since I did the podcast with Jen last week where we talked about our anxieties and our struggles with that, I was like, it's been a while since we've done a pop culture focused podcast, where it's interesting on the website. It's almost been like my posts on the website have been almost pure pop culture referenced recently. Maybe subconsciously, because all my episodes on the podcast have been about like politics and theology and anxiety and like great stuff, but heavier issues. But I'm like, I kind of miss talking about movies a little bit. So that's what today is. And today, Mike, the Wonderful and Awesome, and I are talking about two movies that we both love. Two of the best popcorn movies of all time, in my estimation, where you and I have talked about this in the past, where it's like when we had cable TV, when I lived with my mom, or when you were at home or at your apartment and you were channel surfing, if either of these movies came on, you're like,
it's done. The search is over.
The search is over, and like you're set for the next couple hours. And we were talking about the amazing and wonderful films Independence Day and Armageddon.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, hit us up, man.
Oh, where do I begin? Independence Day?
Yeah, let's start with Independence Day.
Independence Day of 1996, which oddly enough did not come out on Independence Day. No, 1990. Well, they gave it some time. It was like July 2nd or something.
I thought, it came out that weekend.
Which is the day that starts the movie.
Yes.
So it works.
Yeah, it works. The movie's awesome.
What a movie. I just bought it again. Well, I had to buy the 4K version of it because I heard it was fantastic. Yeah, I was at my I was in my old room at my parents' house a couple days ago when I was looking through some drawers for something, and I came across my VHS drawer, and there was another copy of Independence Day, and I'm like, this must be like my 5th or 6th copy. I just keep buying it. I don't even know where to begin. It's such a good movie. I remember I saw it back in '96 with it was with my friend and his dad, and I remember it scared me. Like, it scared me because I believe in aliens, and I thought, well, this could happen. If aliens are real, this could happen. So through the summer, I was just I don't know. I don't want to say nervous. I don't know. I just had it on my mind that this could happen, and I would not wear shorts because what if the aliens come and they blow up a building and there's those fire waves? If I'm wearing pants, my legs won't get burned. Of course, the pants will light on fire, but I didn't think of that. I remember my mom just like urging me or nagging at me. Why don't you wear shorts? Wear shorts. What are you looking at me for?
No, I was scratching my leg.
Oh, I thought you made perfect eye contact. It was really uncomfortable.
Sorry. Did not mean to distract you.
Yeah, so my mom was nagging me like, why don't you put on shorts? Like, because of the aliens. I didn't tell her. I never told her the reason. Because of the aliens. It was so stupid. I was a stupid 9-year-old kid.
I was like that with the hallway in my mom's townhouse.
Yeah.
Right after we saw Jurassic Park, like the next week, they switched all the door handles from like knobs
to the raptor kind.
To the raptor kind. So
just call them the raptor kind.
To a flat handle that a raptor could open.
Yeah.
And I just kept on thinking of the movie. So anytime I went in the hall, especially if I was by myself, if I was down at my aunt's house or like going from my aunt's house to my mom's house, I would just book it up the hallway, and they'd hear me and they'd be like, "Why are you running?" It's like, "Oh, I just want to get here," and I'm not going to tell them like, because the raptors are coming.
Because the raptors are coming. It could happen.
It could happen.
Like like the really plausible one was Twister. After I saw Twister, I'm like, tornadoes are a real thing. They're the most plausible thing I've seen in movies so far that could happen to me. Tornadoes. There was a tornado in Barrie, like a year before I was born. So, like, it could happen. So I stayed in the basement for the summer. Because tornadoes aren't going to get me in the basement. Oh, hey, dog.
Did Volcano spook you? Like a volcano?
I never saw Volcano until much later.
I enjoy that movie so much. It's a fun popcorn movie.
The 90s were great for popcorn movies.
They were.
But they were, like, really good popcorn movies.
They were. I mean, factual science be damned for these movies.
Oh, yeah.
But... like, I remember people being like, Dante's Peak is so much better than Volcano.
That was one of those
and then
2 movies in a summer.
Deep Impact is so much better than Armageddon. When I
Shut
sat
your
down
mouth
and watched both
that.
of those, I'm like, okay, if by better you mean more scientifically accurate, sure, but this isn't fun. Like, this isn't as fun. Although it gave us Morgan Freeman as the president, so I'll give it that.
And then he got promoted to God.
Yeah.
What a promotion.
Yeah,
Back to Independence Day. What a movie. Like, I don't know what to say about it because it's just people get on it. Oh, well, it's cheesy. It's about aliens coming to Earth and a guy using a MacBook, or it was a PowerBook. It was a PowerBook.
1996 PowerBook
to plant spoiler alert, plant a virus in a mothership. Oh, well, how does he get on the same network as the... Shut up. It's awesome, all right?
Yeah.
You've got catchphrases like, welcome to Earth. He doesn't say Earth. I've listened to it. I listened to it in clear Dolby Atmos audio. And there's a TH. He doesn't say Earth.
Yeah.
There's other things he might say with an F on the end where there should be a TH. But I can't think of any examples. But no, it's just you sit back and you enjoy the movie. You go for the ride.
Yeah.
For 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I remember that was a long movie. I remember when I saw it, like, how long was that? 2.5 hours? It's a long time. And then I remember this is weird memory sidetrack. I said we came out of Warden Woods Theater. That's where we saw it.
Oh,
Warden Woods.
man,
I love that theater.
Yeah.
Now it's a bunch of condos and townhouses.
Yep.
Warden Woods, and I said, how long is that movie? And I said, it's 2 hours. I didn't say 2.5 hours. I said it weird. And my friend's dad corrected me. Like, it was the most, like, obscene thing he had heard. Like, why would you say it like that? It's 2.5 hours. Anyway. It's pronounced 2.5.
Just because you mentioned Warden Woods,
Yeah.
it got my mind going. So anybody listening who knows Toronto, especially like the East End, like border of East York and Scarborough, in the 90s you had two major theater options.
Yes.
There was Warden Woods at the corner of Warden and St. Clair.
Yep.
It was just slightly up. It was a mall that had famous players in it.
Mm-hmm.
Down Victoria.
It was a Cineplex Odeon.
It was?
Yep.
Oh, right. It was a Cineplex.
It was a Cineplex.
And then down the street, down Victoria Park at Lawrence, which is now a gym,
Yep.
there was Victoria Terrace Theater.
That was Famous Players.
That was a Famous Players. And if you guys don't remember, Famous Players used to be a theater company.
Yeah. Those are still Famous Players.
There are?
Yeah,
well,
Pickering.
they got bought out by Cineplex.
By Cineplex, yeah, but there's
Cineplex.
still Famous Players. It's Cineplex, but they call it Famous Players.
I didn't know
In
that.
at Pickering at
Oh, wow.
what is it? Liverpool and Highway 2.
Nice.
Is it Liverpool?
On a side note,
it is.
it'd be a far drive for you, and it's at times a far drive for us. But there is a great theater, an amazing theater,
Yeah.
off of Ford Drive in Oakville,
Yeah.
and it's got like 21 screens or something. Jill and I on Boxing Day or something, we went and we saw a double feature.
Neat.
And it, like, the theater itself was my favorite theater. Huge screens, but then also a number of the theaters had like the classic red,
I mean the classic red.
like that old red motif. Where when
Oh,
you
okay.
saw like theaters and movies and stuff, especially if they were like trying to look old theaters, it was like that certain shade of red. Where it's like, I got in, I was like, I enjoyed Pitch Perfect 3, and we also saw Shape of Water, which was interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, I've rented it. I don't know. I wasn't going to see it, and then it was a 99-cent rental, so I'm like, all right. But
It was like incredibly well directed. The visuals were stunning, but then other stuff happened, which I did not.
yeah, there's
know.
other stuff.
Other
which
stuff
is-
was coming, which I did not know was coming, and I was not necessarily mature enough to handle it. I was
I was
looking
not.
away, but giggling the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
are you serious?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyways,
You know what I miss about old theaters? Is the curtains that cover the screen.
oh man, yeah,
You used to go in and the curtains would draw back when it was time for the movie.
yeah.
Now it's just, you see the screen and they got the commercials on when you
Although,
get in there.
one thing I've appreciated in some of the larger theaters, though, is now when you get the screen where it's like it goes from like full screen almost to it changes to
It
wide
changes
screen.
to scope, yeah.
It changes the scope for the movie, and you're like, that's nice. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
Um,
that's kind of fun, but it's not. It's no curtain.
Yeah, no.
No curtain.
It's no curtain. And then, so now both those theaters are gone. As Mike said, Warden Woods is now condos. The mall wasn't doing too well.
No, that was an outlet mall. It became an outlet mall.
And then Vic Terrace is now
It's a good life, yeah.
It's a good life. So now there's a giant Cineplex at Warden and Eglinton. And dear listener, we apologize. Luna is now up and about trying to get attention.
Yeah, and pretzels.
And pretzels.
Delicious rolled gold pretzels.
Yeah, so, man, that was a fun memory trip. I think the last movie I saw, I saw Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie at Warden Woods, and I think the last movie I saw at Warden Woods was the Pokemon movie, because it closed
you mean a
in
Victoria
2000.
Terrace?
No,
Oh, you said
Woods.
Warden Woods twice, so I was confused.
And no, I remember seeing Titanic at Vic Terrace, and Jurassic Park and The Lost World at Vic Terrace.
I saw Jurassic Park and The Lost World at Warden Woods.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I remember it was. Nowadays, all the movies are at one theater. Back in those days,
You had so many options.
No. It was that too, but is it a Warden Woods movie or is it a Victoria Terrace movie? 'Cause
Right.
it either played one or the other. It didn't play it both. which was interesting.
Out here, that's a bit of a case, but that's also because we've got immediately in downtown Hamilton, there's Jackson Square, which is a landmark. Mm-hmm. So
landmark cinemas.
Yeah, it plays a lot of movies, but most of the time it's like it plays the ones where it's going to be the major movies. Mm. So then if, like, for example, Tag got released and it wasn't playing at Jackson's.
Oh.
But at that time also, I think there was, like, Avengers was still out and Deadpool 2 was still out and Solo was coming out. So it's like, no, the screens are going to be for the major one. If you wanted to see something like a Tag or something smaller, you'd have to go to one of the either Ancaster or the Hamilton Mountain cineplexes because they had more screens, so then they play the smaller ones. Whereas Jackson's being a smaller theater, I think it only has 3 or 4 screens. So
yeah.
Plus
Disney plays hardball.
Yeah.
Boy, they're rough on theaters now.
Yeah.
Makes me kind of not like them.
Yeah.
But let's not get into that.
No.
You can look that up, listeners. I almost said viewers.
If we ever get enough... If we get enough of that sponsor money, then
we got some of that delicious rolled gold and thirst quenching Dasani money.
then maybe we can upgrade to doing a video podcast.
Podcast, yeah.
Sorry, we keep getting sidetracked.
We're not even talking about Independence Day, but that's all right.
So like Independence Day, I just blogged about it recently, just because I have a tradition every year of on Canada Day, I watch Independence Day. Mm-hmm. Just because there's no Canada Day movies.
Canada Day. You get like Jean Chrétien getting up there. This is our Canada Day. Doing the speech.
I would watch that in a second, though. And then 3 days later, I celebrate Traitor to the Crown Day, Independence Day.
Traitor to the Crown Day.
I celebrate, Independence Day by watching Independence Day. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, like, I could do it by watching Independence Day Resurgence, which I don't mind. It's just, no, it's not as good.
No, it's not nearly as good.
Yeah.
I had a good time the first time I saw it. Watched the second time, like, you know what? This movie's not very good.
No. It's...
You had 20 years to work on it.
So, what do you think happened with that? Just because in short, we can be like Independence Day, the first one.
It was so good, it couldn't be matched.
It was so good, it couldn't be matched. Like, it is a check your brain at the door, enjoy the thrill ride of catchphrases. Goldblum. Up until
his
Ragnarok,
prime.
I would say Goldblum at the height of his powers, but Ragnarok kind of swayed me on Goldblum, where I'm like, holy cow, no, he was
modern Goldblum, though.
And modern Goldblum is interesting.
He's very interesting, and he's a very well-dressed man.
Yes, he is. But then, like, Independence Day is perfect. It is the perfect popcorn movie.
It's so good.
Like,
it's got emotion. It's got action.
It's got that speech.
It's got the greatest presidential speech ever.
Yeah, where people are like, it's so cheesy. Where, yes, that's its charm. It's so wonderfully cheesy.
Who says cheesy? They're wrong. They're wrong about their life. That speech is so good. I love being a Canadian. I have my issues with Americanism, but when I hear Bill Pullman do that speech, I stand up and cheer, and I am America.
The music swells perfectly and all that.
Everything's perfect. He almost, in Resurgence, he started to do another speech, but it was cut off at like 15 seconds. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You're getting on a roll there.
Yeah. Bill friggin' Pullman.
Yeah. That movie holds the record, which will probably never be broken because everything's digital now. Holds the record for most, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like most models used for visual effects in a movie.
Well, I can believe that just because especially the destruction of the cities.
Yeah,
it's like some of that, like, unless you had the budget of a Jurassic Park or
Jurassic Park's budget was not very high,
or a T2, but what I'm getting at is the special effects in the 90s outside of a handful of movies weren't that good.
No. They saw digital come along and like, hey, let's do it that way. But they didn't. What's the Jurassic Park thing? They didn't stop to think about whether or not they should. You know?
Yeah. They were so preoccupied
with whether or not they could that they didn't stop
to think if they should. Such a good line. Man, yeah. But the Independence Day visually effects, it holds up, but then you can definitely see some of the models and I'd say the city destruction and all that. There's certain points where you're like, that's not CG, and you definitely didn't blow up a city to film this. Mm-hmm. And you're not doing a Mission Impossible thing where it's like, let's have 5 helicopters flipping around each other and all that.
Yeah. I'm ready for Mission Impossible 7, 6.
Yeah. You know what? I've never been a Mission Impossible guy.
I did not like the first 2 at all. 3 I thought was really good. 4, that was the first one I saw. I thought this is an alright movie. 5, it was alright. And I'm ready for 6.
See, like, I'm not that big on Tom Cruise.
No, me neither.
Just because so much of the time it's like when you see him, he's not playing a character. He's playing Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah, he's just Tom Cruise.
He's Tom Cruise it's like I'm Tom Cruise.
He's Tom Cruise as Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise as Tom Cruise as yeah. But to give full credit, like the marketing for the new Mission Impossible has been fantastic.
Yeah.
The trailers have been like, I want to see it, and part of it might be Henry Cavill and his majestic mustache.
Oh, it's all about the mustache.
And then especially there's one shot in the trailer where it's just because he's going through some dark lighting, but it's like when he's cocking his fists, it's almost like it activates his beard just because he's walking into this dark spot. So his 5 o'clock shadow is something like so much deeper. Yeah. You're like, oh my gosh! And then as you're seeing that, you're like, why didn't they let Superman keep that mustache in Justice League? That would have looked amazing. Because Justice League is not good.
Yeah, it was not a good movie.
Like, sorry, side rant coming, and then we'll try to get back. But like, how do you take your biggest heroes and you rush it in a movie where when you've got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman,
Flash,
Aquaman. Sorry, Cyborg, I'm not your biggest fan, although the kid playing him did well. Like, he did a lot better than I expected. I'm not a Cyborg guy, but he made me enjoy him. But then, how do you take those guys? Also, how do you ignore friggin' Martian Manhunter?
Yeah.
Because anytime the conversation comes up, who's going to win, Justice League or Avengers? I'm like, look, Superman trumps most of these guys, but if you throw in Martian Manhunter, it's not a question. I digress even further. But how do you take those characters and release a movie that at best is okay? Just okay.
And how is it an hour and a half long?
Yeah. Come on. Anyways. Cavill's mustache in that movie looks majestic.
Oh yeah. But it's a great mustache. One of the all-time greatest cinema mustaches ever.
Oh yeah. And I actually love the sense of humor he has about the whole thing. Screen Junkies just did
I saw that
interview with him about Mission Impossible 6. Yeah. And throughout the whole thing, they're interviewing other people, and whenever they cut back to Cavill, he's got a different mustache. Yeah. And he's trying so hard to just not break. And he does it for the most part, but at one point you can just see he's like, just like, he just seems like such a good guy.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. I to give him credit and Justice League Limited credit, I think they finally nailed Superman in that one. So now I'm like, I'm looking forward to an optimistic Henry Cavill Superman movie, because his performance is hardly the problem with with Man of Steel or Batman Superman.
Yeah.
His performance is solid. But I'm looking forward to more of an optimistic, traditional Superman, and dude could definitely do it. So I hope we get that soon. So to jump back,
we're jumping all over the place.
To get back to Independence Day, movie's great. Where do you think the sequel went wrong? Like, how could it have been better? Could they just not capture the magic twice?
I felt like there were no stakes. Like in the original, it seemed very like destruction and defeat was imminent. There there was a threat. In the second one, it just felt like, I don't know, they needed to up it a bit, and yeah, they had a bigger ship. Like, they didn't set it up, and it didn't help that the world was so technologically advanced. I mean, that was interesting.
Yeah.
But if they're already so advanced and they're using the alien tech already, that's even less of a threat. And just, you didn't care about the characters in the original. You cared about Goldblum and his dad, who somehow was not dead in the second one.
Yeah.
Like, he would have been... How old was he in the original? He would have been like... Let's say he was in his 60s.
Yeah.
To make any sense. And then he had not aged. He had actually gotten younger for the sequel. He cared about the characters in the original one. There was the whole subplot with Goldblum or David and his ex-wife, and how they still loved each other, but they didn't think it would work. There was emotion there. Where in the sequel there was nothing. It was just A to B to C. There was nothing in. There was no heart. There was no there were no stakes. There was no heart. There was just, it was empty. It was a very empty sequel.
Yeah, I think like at times doing sequels to. Well, heck, at times doing sequels to anything is challenging. Just because 9 times out of 10, the sequel doesn't even remotely live up to the first.
Yeah. Which makes me feel great about Steam 3.
Steam, out of what I've read, Steam 3 will definitely live up and improve.
Yeah.
But, like, to popcorn movies, I think it's almost more difficult. I know
it's difficult. Yeah,
I know we disagree about these movies, but in my opinion, like Fast and the Furious has only gotten better.
Yeah,
5 through 8 are my favorites, just because they're like, all right, we know what we are now. We know we're 2-dimensional characters. We know there's no like the racing thing isn't really appealing to anyone. So let's just embrace the ridiculousness. Like we've played Just Cause 2 and probably 3 now. How can we get this on the big screen? Oh, I know. It'll work great with these guys. But it works. Like, those are movies you go in, you check your brain at the door, and somehow they have more respect for their own continuity than serious movies do.
Mm.
But those, in my opinion, have only improved because they're fun. Yes, they're light. They're debatably brainless, but it's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. They've improved, but this one, even though Independence Day is like a great popcorn movie and it does have the emotional stuff and all that, it's not like a heavy, like deep movie. It's a very fun surface movie. Yeah. But then when we got to what was it? Resurrection?
Resurgence.
Resurgence. Yeah. I definitely agree. First time I saw it in theaters, I was like, you know what, that wasn't so bad, and I saw people reacting where I'm like, well, what are you expecting?
I had fun. I remember that.
Yeah.
I saw that was the first and only movie I've seen in D-Box.
Ah.
So I remember sitting there, and as soon as the movie started, it's in space. The chair became 0G, so I was just floating around. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. Like it didn't have even that fluffy popcorn heart to it. There was stuff that didn't make sense, like his dad looking younger and Data living. Because in the movie, he was clearly dead. Like in Independence Day, they checked his pulse, and then he was dead.
He was dead.
In this movie, it's like he's suddenly back.
And then they brought in this whole like romance plot with him and the other guy.
Yeah. Where
it was just like, what? Where did that come from?
Where I've talked to people and they're like, that bothered you, didn't it? I was like, I wasn't a big fan, but mostly because it was out of nowhere.
It was out of nowhere.
There was, like, if in a movie, if you previously hinted at something, then I could be like, okay, this makes sense.
Okay, follow up,
but it's a character that was dead, and now
he's alive and maybe gay.
Exactly, where it's like, oh, okay.
All right, well.
but it's a logical stretch.
It's just out of nowhere.
It's
That's
out
my
of nowhere.
problem.
It's like, let's just
and
put
it's
it
unnecessary. It doesn't have anything to do with anything.
It's let's just put it in for the sake of putting it in. Where I'm even in popcorn movies and stuff, I'm very much like, look, if you're gonna put something in, like, be intentional. Don't just do it surface. Do it well. Like, some people didn't like the advancement in technology. I just didn't see how they'd have any other way to do it. Where it's like,
yeah, I guess so.
Well,
I never thought of it. I guess.
Yeah, some people were like, it really bothered me because real world isn't like this anymore. It's like, well, to be fair, real world, a 1996 virus wouldn't shut down alien ships.
Hey, you don't know that.
That's fair.
You don't know that.
I don't know that. But and that's not even an insult to the first movie. The movie's amazing. But the logic behind having advanced technology makes sense. But on the flip side, it did dampen the threat. It's like, okay, now we can fight them pretty evenly.
Yeah.
And then there's this even bigger mothership. And then it's an alien queen. And it's like, okay, now we're just riffing off of...
Oh, yeah, there was that giant,
We're riffing off of Aliens.
It's just aliens, yeah.
We're riffing off of everything else. Like, it's not... It's... What happened? I'd love to know what happened in between, or if they could have made a better sequel, if it would have been better if it came out a lot closer to the time. If the IMAX hadn't done stuff like The Day After Tomorrow or whatever other terrible disaster movie in between. Like, if they had been like, you know what, we're going to do Independence Day 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yeah. If they did that right off the bat, if it would have been better. I've seen some people be like, if Will Smith was in it, it would have saved the day. Where I'm like, if you put Will Smith in that movie, yes, he would have been fun, he would have been charismatic, he would have been Big Will, and that would have been great, but that wouldn't have elevated the material.
Well, possibly it was a different movie with Will Smith.
Yeah. I imagine if they had him, it hopefully would have been a different movie. So,
what was I going to say now? I don't know. I'm just wasting airtime now.
Well, we've talked about and around Independence Day for a while. Let's switch gears to the other amazing movie from 1997? 1998.
Yeah.
The classic and easily, in my opinion, best work of Mr. Michael Bay.
Oh, yeah.
And he's mocked it since. He's like, I didn't have enough time. It would have been a better final product. I'm like, your final product
It's fine, man.
Your final product was so much better than anything you've done since.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, before.
Yeah.
Except for there was the Benghazi movie he did, which was just such a restrained Michael Bay.
Oh, yeah. That was weird. When I heard that was Michael Bay, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Was that 12 hours or 12 strong? No, that's a different movie.
Yeah. Jill and I watched it, and I was like, this is a pretty good movie. Which means for a Michael Bay movie, it's
a great movie.
It's great. There was only only 2 shots of the American flag, but it actually made sense because they were at an embassy. Or I can't remember, something like that. So that the flag being there made sense. It's not like they put the flag in on an asteroid.
It's not like Spider-Man 3.
Or Spider-Man 3. But in Armageddon's case, if you pause it at the right time, you will see that they planted an American flag on the asteroid.
Because why not? So yes, the movie we're talking about is Armageddon.
Back to Armageddon. Let's talk.
I remember the first time I saw Armageddon. Oh, I remember before that. My sister had seen it because she was a teenager at the time. And that's about it, really. So I knew of it.
Story.
I know it. So I knew of it. And then I saw it on TV the first time. It was like a Saturday morning, and I just turned it on, and I was enthralled.
Yeah.
I thought, this is such a good movie.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi was hilarious.
Ah.
And then there was tearjerkers at the end, tear-jerking scenes. And, Harry, that's the scene.
No, Harry, wait a minute.
You can't do this to me, Harry.
Affleck at the height of his 90s
Just
powers.
crying.
Before things went south for him in the 90s. Late 90s.
Affleck, poor Affleck.
Yeah, I know. Love that man.
I like Affleck.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I don't know.
I
think people just have a prejudice against him. That's what it is.
Well, he made so many bad choices. At the time, I think he didn't have anybody kind of like advising him at all. where it's like, yeah, no, keep doing movies. Like, just so you end up in reindeer games. You end up in Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. That was a bad movie except for the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Right. Which is weirdly messed. I can't remember who I was listening to said it. He's like, Pearl Harbor's a weird movie because it's shot so well, like the bombing sequence, you're almost like, yeah! Which you shouldn't be.
Go Japan!
You shouldn't be. So he's like, in retrospect, you should have shot that differently because you're like, this is awesome.
You're cheering for the bad guys. The bad guys.
Yeah, and then, of course, like, just so many bad movies, Geely and all that. Like, and it's interesting now because we're at a point where if anybody makes a bad personal decision, it's impacting their perception as an actor and all that. And that's a different topic for a different time. But I've always been an Affleck fan. Like, even for almost every bad movie he was in, you could find a good performance. Like, not an amazing one, but a good one.
At least a good one, yeah.
But I think he's definitely improved substantially in front of the camera since he's done work behind the camera now.
Yeah.
And he's also a lot more picky with his roles.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he is, yeah.
Yeah. But I enjoyed his performance, and at points, cheesy as it was, in Armageddon. Like, his crying scene cracks me up, but the right way every time.
Yeah. And let me just say this for the record: he's a good Batman.
Yeah,
he's a good Batman. He just doesn't have the best material to work with.
It's
even though the guys that write it have the best material to work with.
Yeah, his performance is good. The writing for his Batman is not. How they've messed it up twice now.
Yeah. Then they blame it on Affleck. It's not him.
Well, and this is going to lead me into a tangent I've had before. It's something that I'm noticing now where the fans have gotten really bad in a way.
Fans are terrible. Where Star Wars fans are the worst.
Like Kelly Marie Tran got bullied off of social media.
Yeah.
Where it's like, your character sucks, and then they're going in all this like racist stuff, going at her weight, her looks, and all that. Where it's like, shut up.
Yeah. If you're gonna yell at anyone,
if you got any beef, like, you should take it up with Rian Johnson. You should take it up with the writers, but also please do it constructively so they'll actually hear you.
Yeah.
And also, don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
You know, treat someone how you want to be treated.
Yes. Indeed.
And then, people do that, and it sucks. Where it's like, they did it to George Lucas, but we're gonna get to this.
That was his own fault.
We'll get to this.
Yes.
I feel bad for Affleck in a way where I'm like, you're doing the best you can with the bad material given. Hopefully, the solo Batman movie, if you stick around will be much better. Is there anything in Armageddon you didn't like?
The asteroid didn't win. What didn't I like in Armageddon? It can be slow before they get into space, I guess.
Well, yeah, it takes like a good hour for them to get into space.
Yeah.
And yet, there's all these... Every 10 minutes, there's something going on where there's got to be an intensity to it.
Or a montage.
With Aerosmith.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't have any real nitpicks with Armageddon that I can think of right now. There's a strip club scene that's a bit unnecessary.
Yep. If I was going to cut anything, it'd be that.
Yeah, it's kind of unnecessary. But it's not gratuitous. It's very quick that you really see the strip clubbiness. It could have easily been a casino.
Yeah.
But there is a casino scene as well.
Yeah.
With Chick, the gambler.
Yep.
There's... I'm going off on a tangent or something that we can get to later, but speaking of heart again, that movie's got so much heart. It's got the whole... the romance with Affleck and Liv Tyler. It's got the relationship between Willis and Liv Tyler. Or Harry and... Gracie.
Yep.
It's got Chick with his son who doesn't know he's his son.
And the mom is the original April O'Neil.
The original April O'Neil, yeah. And then there's the humor. That's the thing that got me about Armageddon the first time I saw it, is that it was so funny.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like slapstick funny. It was just like, it was funny.
Yeah.
With the line that sold me on the movie, what are you doing with a gun in space?
Which is supposed to be a serious line, but they had to know it was going to get some laughs.
It's delivered so well.
It is.
There's so many lines that are delivered so well that they just stay underneath that cheesy barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny movie. It's lightheartedly funny as well, not just clever lines like when Michael Clark Duncan. Well, he has a lot of funny things like.
May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. Oh, I thought you were going to pour some water on your laptop. You know that's not good, right? Like he does a little when he's having his examination. He has a little dance on top of the table in his cheetah underwear, and he breaks down crying in the psychological examination.
I'm just getting a little emotional right now. Can I get a hug from you or something?
Yeah. Or like there's the line when Willis is looking for Gracie, and he goes into I guess the control room, and Owen Wilson's in there, and he's just like playing around. And Willis says, I keep calling him Willis, not his character's name, Harry. Harry says, "You've seen Gracie," and Owen Wilson says, "Yeah, I saw her in the hangar with AJ." "Oh, did you say AJ? I thought you meant Bear."
Did you say your daughter?
Did you say your daughter? Yeah.
I thought you meant Michael Clark Duncan.
You said Bear.
This massive human being.
Or like, you're Han Solo and I'm Chewie. Chewie? Have you even seen Star Wars?
Yeah, that movie is so funny.
And we're just talking about the first half of it too.
I know.
Wait till I get into space.
Well, and the other thing that surprises me at points, like especially because it's a Michael Bay movie, which listener, if you haven't clued in, I'm not a fan of that man.
They're not.
He does not make very good movies. He makes
his down to earth movies. I haven't really seen many of them, but they're supposedly quite good. I mean, they're good. Bad Boys and The Rock, and
I watched Bad Boys and The Rock within the past year or so.
Yeah,
and neither of them
they're not very good.
I didn't find them very good. Like maybe it's because they had hyped it up so much, where I'm like, oh man, it's Martin Lawrence. I remember him.
Yeah,
and he his performance was fun, and Will Smith's was fun, but the movie on the whole, I was like,
Yeah. Well, like there was Pain and Gain too that he did between Transformer movies.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be really good, but I saw it and I thought it was not a good movie. So I may have to retract my previous statement about his down-to-earth movies being good.
The only one I can vouch for is Benghazi. The Benghazi movie.
What is that movie called? 12 Hours? And it's something about 12 or hours?
12, yeah. It's not Black Hawk Down. Where it's a specific amount of time.
That was Ridley Scott anyway.
Yeah, and that was a great movie.
I don't remember much of it.
Legolas gets shot out of the helicopter.
Yeah, I know what it's about. I just don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, like most of his movies, especially his Transformers movies, are like.
I only ever saw the first one.
I saw three of them for some reason.
Why?
I don't know.
Dark of the Moon sounded interesting as a concept.
They only got worse, and then someone's like, "Are you going to see the Force one?" I was like, "No, I've been a glutton for punishment enough." But yeah, there's something about Armageddon where, with Michael Bay's movies, it's like not that the actors do a bad job, but you don't get necessarily like great acting. Armageddon, I'd say, is a contrary to it, like a counter to it. There's some great moments of like really subtle but great acting, especially from Steve Buscemi.
Oh yeah, his timing is great.
Like right when after one of the shuttles went down, like when you see him upset, being like, "What are you, friggin' cyborg? What does that mean?" And then also as he's piecing everything together, he's the one who solves like where they've landed. Yeah. And then it's just like, because I'm a genius.
That line is just flirting with being bad.
But he delivers it so well, and then Like, there's points where I'm like, you're stealing the show with this, and it's flirting that line, but it's he's so good in that movie.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, why doesn't Buscemi get more work? Because whenever you see Buscemi outside, not that he's not funny, but whenever you see him outside of comedies, you're like, you're good. Like, you're a good actor.
He's a good actor, yeah. Sure.
And then in comedies, when it's the right comedies, he's hilarious.
He's good in the Adam Sandler movies. When he's in Billy Madison, he was really funny. Bit part. Yeah, Buscemi's good. I like Buscemi.
Yeah.
Even as a human being, he's a good human being. After 9/11, he rejoined his firefighter unit and did things. Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons I thought, though I think I'm incorrect about it, I thought Armageddon was good is because J.J. Abrams wrote it, but supposedly he only did a little bit. Like, he only polished it, or he's a script doctor or something. So, but maybe that's what fixed it. He fixed it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because he can write a good movie.
Oh yeah, dudes.
He wrote, and directed Mission Impossible 3, the best Mission Impossible. So, and Philip Seymour Hoffman was so good in that movie too.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was someone who I kind of found almost later.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like not rock radio or something, but pirate radio.
That was a good movie.
It was. And he that's the movie where I was suddenly like, I've seen this dude a lot, but I'm now it just made me aware of how talented an actor he was.
Yeah, he was good.
And then anytime I revisited a movie with him in it, it was like you noticed
really
how good his performance was.
Oh yeah, he was really good. Yeah. Shame what happened to him.
Yeah. He would have been my if Nolan was ever going to do a Batman movie with the Penguin.
Yeah.
He would it's like that's your Penguin. If for your Chris Nolan non-comic book Batman movie, like Philip Seymour Hoffman's your Penguin. There's no other person.
I've felt for a long time that the perfect Nolan realistic down to earth Penguin was the Penguin we got in Batman Returns. Only take a bit of the
flipper hands and
no, even that would work, because that was a very realistic Penguin, if you ask me. There are a few things that were like maybe a little too cartoonish, but overall, if you were going to have a real world Penguin, Batman Returns, that was a good way to do it. Maybe the whole living in the sewer thing wasn't the best, but otherwise, like physically and the depiction of him was very good. So that's my spiel.
Yeah, man. Friggin' love Armageddon.
Yeah, it's so much better than Deep Impact. Deep Impact feels very disjointed.
It does.
Because there's stories in different parts of the world, right, or different parts of the states.
Yeah.
With Deep Impact, and it just didn't have the emotional resonance that Armageddon has.
Yeah. The only thing it had better than Armageddon was Morgan Freeman as the president.
Before he got his promotion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, the rest of the time, like, no offense to Frodo Baggins, but it's not like he was winning his character or his character's story was winning me over. The asteroid hitting...
It's pretty bad when you have to cheer for the asteroid, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I said that about Armageddon, but I was just joking. But
yeah.
No, the thing I like about Deep Impact, though, is that there were two... something actually hits the Earth.
Right.
Well, no, but then I realized later that does happen in Armageddon as well. But not to the same...
yeah. I think it's like...
Well, in Armageddon, they do destroy Paris.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Well, they also... I can't remember where in Asia, but somewhere...
Yeah, Hong Kong.
Yeah, a mini asteroid hit Hong Kong, and then they hit
Paris.
They hit Paris.
Paris
and take
gets
it
wiped out.
Yeah. And... yeah, Armageddon is... for me, it's such a fun thrill ride, where legit every 10 minutes is either... for the first half, there's either something tense or a montage. Yeah. But then in the second half, well, like once the shuttle takes off, it's like, all right, we got to do something crazy intense. Whereas,
like the whole
the fueling station is about to blow up.
Yeah, or like the whole thing when the shuttles are in the asteroid's like tail, and they're getting hit, and they know something's going to go down. That's like you're gripping the chair or whatever you're sitting on.
Yeah.
Like that's a nail biter.
Yep. Well, and the music in that
Yeah,
scene
it's
alone
epic,
is
isn't
fantastic.
it? Yeah.
Where I can't remember who did the score, but I'm like, how have you not had more of a more pronounced prolific career?
Yeah.
Where it's like,
I'm curious now. I'm going to the internet.
yeah, it was crazy. Like that scene was crazy tense. The music was epic. It fit it perfectly. It wasn't overly dramatic, and there was great visuals of just like the debris going from the tail and going into the moon.
Yeah.
And then as the switch from like the epic kind of haunting music to when it's something more action oriented as they're trying to fly through around the debris.
Yeah.
And then as soon as one of the debris rocks hit, the great switch into something emotional.
Yeah.
It was just like non-stop great transitions, and it's all one piece. Like when you listen to the score, it's all as one piece, so it's not like, all right, we're piecing together separate things. It's like, no, this was all one track telling one story.
This is true.
It was wonderful.
Great score. Really.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to find the composer. There it is. Trevor Rabin.
Yeah,
Rabin.
I haven't heard much of his stuff since, at least that I know.
Well, what has he done? He's done Deep Blue Sea.
Oh man.
Enemy of the State. Now he's a writer.
Oh.
No, that's soundtrack. Sorry. Ice Age Collision Course. So nothing really big.
No.
The Tonight Show. He does a lot of animated movies. The Love Guru.
Oh no.
Yeah. Hot Fuzz. Stomp the Yard. So yeah, he's not doing a lot of big movies. GTA 4. Anyway.
Yeah. And then the on the asteroid stuff is great. There's some great tense moments, some great funny moments, but also the epic, what are you doing with a gun in space?
What are you doing with a gun in space? Or like when Max dies.
Yeah. Bye, Max.
Bye, Max.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of yelling in that movie.
A lot of yelling.
Especially from Affleck and Willis.
Ah!
If you're ever going to trust me, just do it now.
The one thing I don't like about that movie, I've discovered, or I figured it out, is the zero barrier thing. They act like it's like within millimeters. If you're like 1 millimeter from zero barrier, it's fine. It doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah, no. It's like, wow, that's the absolute farthest. If you're even a fraction beyond that, it's donezo.
But out of that, we do get push the button, Harry.
Yeah.
Push the button.
And then, the tense music and everything.
Yeah. And then when he does press it and it has like that angelic music and it flashes back and you see like Harry playing with young Gracie and it's very emotional.
And then the random shot of Bruce Willis like shirtless with his arms crossed.
Is he shirtless?
On the black screen. Yes. I'm pretty sure.
He's doing his Wakanda Forever thing.
His Wakanda Forever / Wonder Woman pose / Deadpool X-Force pose.
Yeah.
That part is great, but also slightly odd. But then it ends so greatly,
and then there's the wedding during the credits.
Yeah,
which is a tearjerker because they're getting married. But also there's the photos of those they have lost, including Owen Wilson.
Yep.
Even though he was an insignificant character. Like, what did he even do? He rode a horse and he made some jokes and then he died.
Yep. He made the Star Wars joke. And then it's like he's like, there's all these changes going on with her body. Wow.
With her body.
Wow. And it's like, you are like 2 minutes older than Grace is. Why would I listen to you?
This is real hero stuff. I love how he says body. She's going through all these changes with her body.
Yeah. So, dear listener, thank you for listening. If you get the chance, if you already haven't seen these movies, what's up? Just go watch them. They are great. Check your brain at the door entertainment. They are amazing popcorn movies.
We've spoiled some things. But
we have spoiled some things, but
you can still enjoy them.
That's not on us. These came out in 1996 and
You've had 20 years to watch these movies.
You've had 22 and 20 years to watch these movies. And let us know what you thought. Did you like them as much as we do? Did you enjoy them? What did you think of our side tangents? Let us know in the comments. thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy. If you are connected with Dasani and
Rolled Gold, or anyone else, I'll eat chips. I'll eat Doritos.
We would love that sponsorship money. And if you do feel so inclined, we have a coffee site. And you like what we do, you can financially support us there and buy us a cup of coffee. Any amount helps. And of course, please keep us in prayer and pray for Toronto and especially that neighborhood and the decisions that are going to come out based on that. Hope you had a wonderful day. Thank you for listening, and God bless, my friends. Take care.